The Trump campaign says Kamala Harris is looking for an out with just a little more than a week to go until their first debate.
I think that the Harris campaign is looking for an escape hatch. They refuse to accept the terms of the debate, which, again, everyone had already agreed to it. We'd agreed to it. ABC's agreed to it. The rules are the rules. They're not changing. But Kamala Harris and her campaign, they're afraid. Want to know why? Because she's going to have to answer for every bit of this last 3.5 years.
A president of District Media Group and fellow at Independent Women's Forum, Beverly Hallberg, joins me now. Beverly, cut through all the noise in this. This has been going on for weeks now. Will they, won't they? This thing, that thing, Mike's, not Mike. What's the deal? What's really going on here?
Well, we're going to have to wait and find out to see what she actually agrees to. But I think the way the Harris campaign is running the campaign is very reminiscent of how Joe Biden ran his basement campaign strategy 4 years ago. It seems that what Democrats want to do is keep Harris out of the spotlight as much as possible. Anytime she's not around a teleprompter, they want to keep her quiet. I mean, look at the data so far. She has not done a solo interview. She has not held a press conference. And now a debate, which are the same rules that Joe Biden agreed to during his CNN debate, she seems to be having cold feet. And so I think this is going to be hard for her team to say that she's not going to do this debate when Joe Biden did it himself. And I think the American people are going to demand this debate. But it shows the cold feet for a good reason, because I think they honestly see that she's struggling to be able to stay on message. And it's also about the optics. Is she optically going to have the type of not just substance, but style that she needs?
It's a great question. Trump explaining why he thinks VP Harris will only do this debate on one network, that network, ABC.
But that's the only one she'll go to. Now, the other one is the head of ABC is her best friend and her husband's best friend, too. And I had to make a decision. Do I want to debate? I'd like to debate.
Yeah, to be clear, what Donald Trump's talking about, he is commenting on reporting that a very, very high-level executive at ABC is very close friends with Doug Emhoff and Kamala Harris. So with that in mind, to Trump's point, can voters trust ABC to be right down the middle and impartial in this debate with all of America watching?
Well, this is where America will call them out if they're not. Now, I do think that there's always bias when you deal with legacy media. It is not a shock to the American people that ABC is not friendly toward Donald Trump and his policies. But I give Donald Trump a lot of credit where he says, I'm willing to go wherever I need to go to debate Kamala Harris. And again, it's putting a spotlight on someone who seems afraid to debate him. And so I think he's putting her in this tough position of having to say yes. Again, it's the same rules that Joe Biden agreed to. Why won't Kamala Harris agree to those same rules? I think at the end of the day, we're going to see her next week on that debate stage, and I think the rules are going to stay as is.
Let's create a hypothetical here. Neither party can really claim victory on September 10th at 11 o'clock once the debate is over. Both sides claim some sort of victory. Basically, what I'm saying is it's not a bloodbath like June 26 when Joe Biden and Donald Trump debated. Do you think they do a second debate?
I don't think so at this point. I would love more debates. I'm always going to push for that. But I think this is what both candidates need to accomplish. Now, for Donald Trump, who is very quick on his feet, I think he has to be careful about looking like a bully towards Kamala Harris. Stick to the policies, leave the personal insults alone. Let Kamala Harris bury herself. Now, on Kamala Harris's standpoint, she cannot have word salad. She has to seem commanding. And even in her recent interview with CNN, where she had Tim Walz on her side, the eye contact was poor. There was hesitancy. She has to come out in a commanding way. And I think if she doesn't, this could be really bad for her. I don't think it's going to be as significant as the Biden debate, but I think this could seal the deal for whether or not people think Kamala Harris is competent enough, especially in communication, in order to be president.
So if we remember back to what we're calling the Biden debate, soon thereafter, actor George Clooney wrote an op-ed basically calling on Joe Biden to step down, and he was questioned about it. His answer, curious. Listen.
You know, I've actually never had to answer that question, so I suppose I'll do it here. The person who should be applauded is the president who did the most selfless thing that anybody's done since George Washington, and that's true.
Except, Beverly, George Washington didn't have an op-ed from a popular actor at the time demanding that he step down. Where's the shame in George Clooney, Beverly?
It really is quite rich, and I actually view this as typical bullying tactics. Here you had George Clooney, who didn't do this on his own. I don't think he wrote this op-ed. He had ghostwriters. I think he had Democrats behind him. Put an op-ed out forcing Joe Biden to leave, as well as other Democrats forcing him. And I think the deal they gave him was, if you do this, we are going to praise you. We're going to talk about putting you on Mount Rushmore. We're going to call you selfless. We are going to make comparisons to George Washington and being the best president who ever lived. I think this was his concession prize, so to speak, by actually caving to their bullying tactics. Again, I don't think the American people buy it. Most people see it for what it is. But apparently with Democrats, they still go on with the same narrative, whether or not it's true.
George Washington didn't spend 16 straight days at a beach. George Washington's experience with water was crossing the Delaware and basically winning the Revolutionary War. Beverly, Hallberg, we appreciate your time. Have a great Labor Day. We appreciate you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.